Yesterday was the same thing. Day before yesterday, you had the same attitude, same state of mind. That helps us to discover we are a seeker or not. Otherwise, it's an easy thing to say, I am a seeker, I have understood it intellectually, and now, why don't you understand? We start blaming others. It will not work in your life, in your attitude. You have to check every day in the morning before going to the bed, during the day, that we are calm, relaxed, aware, following the power of discernment. So, what is going to happen? You are going to set an example. You don't have any intention to set an example, but the example will be set naturally at your home, in your profession, in your personal life, in your relationship. So that will help you to live wisely. So let me trigger your mind. Can we ask animals, you live wisely? No. Can we ask human being? Yes. That is the way. So knowledge is a power, has to be used in thinking, speaking, and working. If we are not working and we have learned, yes, I know all the principles, I have understood it, it will not work. Do I do I want to change my entire life? So what will happen? Every seeker becomes a center of consciousness which is evolving all the time. So why I started this topic. So when I'm aware and I'm living wisely, what it means, the likes and dislikes will come and go, pain and pleasure will come and go, sorrow and happiness will come and go. We will realize that these dual opposite feelings are a part of the world. It has nothing to do with me. The maximum is that the pain has come, let me endure it and move forward. Otherwise, what will happen? One part of the mind will continue to have these pain, pleasure, like, dislike, emotional feelings, and the other part will say that I am a seeker. So we have already divided our personality. For example, you have something emotionally deadly against some person who is living in your family, so you will remain seeker as long as that person does not come in front of you. Randy is laughing. And we do it. So then there is a duality in me. And this disintegration of person, modern psychology is talking about split personality, schizophrenia. We are already suffering from that. Pay attention to this, is very important. as we are progressing. So that will make us aware that we are living unwisely. What do you mean by living? No, that guy does not want to understand. Why you do not want to understand? Why your mind has those feeling of reaction? Why your mind? He or she doesn't want to understand because they are not a seeker. They should not. Do I live with that level of awareness? Then I'm living wisely. Otherwise, otherwise we are claiming we are a seeker. I have learnt a lot over the years and I am still there in the same state. From today, you have to think the members of your family. We say there is a big good proverb: charity begins at home. If I'm not able to bring about my emotional dependence under control, nothing is going to happen. What will happen? We are searching permanent peace and happiness. We are receiving the knowledge. We are able to retain the knowledge as long as there is no emotional disturbances. Are you getting it? But I keep my emotional dependence all the time in the deeper layers of the mind. Are you getting it? And that is why we are talking of emotional dependence to emotional freedom. And that simply means the love for the sake of love. Love for the sake of love. Knowledge is dry, knowledge seems dry thought. It helps to remove ignorance. It helps us to see what is right and good. No problem. But pure emotion is required to make it beautiful, peaceful, joyful, creative. And if we do not have an emotional freedom, then all those impressions of duality, of reaction, of blame, of complaint, they will return with a greater force. That is why we are learning. The word that I have spoken is upasana, bhakti, love for the sake of love, or simply we say emotional freedom, emotional dependence. I blame, I complain, I keep the grudge inside my heart against someone near and dear to me, maybe mom, dad, brother, sister, sibling, honey. The fundamental change will not come in our life. We do not become the highest level of a seeker. You have understood, you have a right knowledge. Oh, discernment is important, so the dispassion, everything is good. But what is happening deeper inside at the emotional level, that changes has not come. Emotional dependence is still there. So what will happen? You have learned everything for 10 years. Within a minute, everything wash away. Everything will wash away. you fall back. So that is why we say upasana, how it is done, and I have been discussing. So instead of directly going to the upasana, we are understanding uh, we get attached by love at first sight. Sometimes it happens we love. So in that love, there is an object of attachment. What happens? Mind keeps on repeating the thoughts and the feeling again and again. First, there is an object of attachment. We keep on thinking and feeling. So, because of constant thinking and the feeling, you have an image of that person or that object inside your heart. So, three elements are there. Three elements are there. So, then what happens? Then what happens? That is what we call the dating, soulmate, intense attachment, and then we fall in love. We do not rise in love. Don't be so serious, I'm just explaining in a simple way. Uh, I love and then I hate. So, in the love, when there is a love and a hate, I normally ask when couple comes to me, do you believe your honey 100%? Nobody has answered yes. Outside, it's okay. Kissing is okay, hugging is okay, demonstration of 100% love is okay. But it is not there. It is not there. It is because the attachment is there. It is because the likes and dislikes are there. It is because the emotional dependence is there. And because of that emotional dependence, I cannot believe the other person 100%. No, we may demonstrate, in the it's okay. I love you so much. First thing, I may have a right knowledge, clarity is there, I know where lies the ignorance, but if it is not charged with the pure emotion of love, that knowledge cannot be realized. We cannot become the highest level of a seeker. And that is why we need to continue the journey. The knowledge will help us to purify the mind, especially the Karma Yoga that we have done many sessions on that. But if we want to remove the inner conflict, that sense of emotional dependence, we need to understand not only the love, but we also have to understand, we have to apply that where there is an emotional dependence, we have to turn it to an emotional freedom. And it is so simple, object of attachment. Find out an object of attachment that is unchanging. One, you don't have any expectation. You love that object for the sake of love. And you think about that image. So, what is going to happen? That your heart will be purified. We are opening up slowly. What happens in attachment? Whenever we are attached, we say we love that person or that object. The mind is constantly thinking about it, about that person. So the thinking has an element of feeling, and that feeling has an element of dependence. Are you getting it? I'm making it simple. There are 5 texts based on this authentic text. It's a long journey. What exactly? I'm just briefing it. Now I have to, through the knowledge, I should understand what is that object or a person who is not changing. So that is why we have an images of gods and goddesses. We have an image of gods and goddesses. So that is why the guru also becomes an ideal. And when that ideal becomes an idol, lives in the heart, to move from emotional dependence to the emotional freedom. I know I can see that how it will help us understand little deeper. So let us understand it's a deeper in a in a very logical statement. The first stage of the love is one loves only when one is loved. Did you understand? One loves only when one is loved. We love only when we are loved. It means an expectations are present in the mind. Craving is there. It causes the selfishness in the mind. Mind divides who loves me, and the mind divides into 2 groups. One group, I love these people, I don't love these people. Mind swings like a pendulum. So the first condition, first stage of the love, is that we love when we have a lot of expectations that we will also be loved. We are a calculating person. Our master used to say, this is a narrow minded and a selfishness. Inequality feeling towards others. The spice is liking and disliking. And that is a very nature of the human emotional dependence. That's a very nature. We have been heavily conditioned since our childhood by the school, by our parents and the family and the religions. You have to live like this. But this is not going to work in our total transformation in life. That is the first. So this causes an emotional inequality. So think of it, what exactly would be an emotional equality? You hate a person outside, but you love your dog. Come on. I can give you many examples. You used to go to the couple here and they say, oh, I love my dog, and she used to cry, talking about the dog. But within few minutes, she started talking of blaming and complaining others. I know how much you love you. I love pet. I love animals. First, we will understand and you think of it and you can send a question or you can ask it. Second is, one loves spontaneously, but one wants to be loved in return. In the first case, that is what the society is. Oh, I like Sam, so I appreciate him, and ultimately I find that the Sam also loves me, and ultimately we have a relationship. That is the first, but it is based on the emotional dependence. The second is that I don't care of my expectation first. I love spontaneously. Love spontaneously. So many people love me spontaneously, and after that they say, no, no, this guy has nothing to do, let me leave. So many people have left the session. One guy told me, you are the great master. So he created an email, greatmaster@gmail.com, and he left a couple of months before. I know. That's what I've been doing for the last 40 years. His email is still there, Great Master. Perhaps he did not find, so Great Master 2 or 3, greatmaster2@gmail.com. We know it because we have been evolving the same way. So one loves spontaneously, but one wants to be loved in return at a later stage. So there is a sense of emotional trigger. Emotional agitation is always present, and that is guided by the ego. Such a person has a large feeling. Sometime there is another example that charitable works. We want to do some charity works, but we feel that we have an expectation. It will come later. So I'm waiting for that expectation. I have that expectation in return. So idea of helping others is also a subtle form of ego. This is second. This is the second kind of a love. That love is unreliable. But don't start categorizing people. First, you have to understand yourself. Don't start giving a label. Oh, honey, your love is unreliable. I have understood. No, understand yourself first. I'm warning you. Otherwise, you will destroy yourself. First, you have to understand yourself. So, this second kind of love or affection is unreliable. It is so much based on the selfishness and the desire. There's a flame of ego, sometimes very turbid, sometimes more clear, sometimes brightly colored, that normally keeps the family intact because everyone moves with the same emotion. I had a private student in the first session, I love my parents. So in the second session, now I was staying at my parents' house and they did not allow me to meditate. They are totally crazy, that kind of a love. Oh, that's why I thought that I will not stay at my parents' home. That's what the teaching is. To a second kind of a love. So now the third stage of the love. So the entire family, tradition, people you have seen, oh, we have been living together for the last 5 generations. So there is an element of selfishness. They keep them together. They fight, they have differences, they come together. Sometimes we say, okay, okay, it's okay. You have said sorry, and now everything is good. And then again we do it. Second kind of love. Third is love. One loves even if one is not loved. One loves even if one is not loved, but one still wants one's love to be accepted. Now I want that my love should be accepted by you. Do you see the first two? It does not fall into the emotional freedom. So the third one also does not fall into emotional freedom. You should recognize me that I am a teacher. Why should you recognize me? Why should I impose that restriction? Oh, listen to me, learn it, change yourself. If you don't want to change, don't change. Sometimes you see that teachers are very particular. Huh? Why you are speaking? I have started speaking. I'm a teacher. So you have to start accepting. So what happens? Our behavior and attitude does not change. That sense of emotional dependence continues. What is upasana? What is bhakti? Love for the sake of love. One loves purely and simply without any other need. I love for my joy. I love for my peace. I love for my wisdom inside. Are you understanding that fourth kind of a love? That is what is needed to move from the emotional dependence to the emotional freedom. That love is powerful. Jesus talks about that love. You have heard the proverb? Love is God. That is the crux of Upasana. But why we should learn? My honey also loves me. We have likes and dislikes. We have a fight. You know. In India, we normally talk. If we don't have a fight, then we are not living in a relationship. And I'm just translating that, in English. क्या कहते हैं बर्तन there is a Hindi proverb, बर्तन नहीं खड़केंगे तो प्यार नहीं होगा, something like that. So if we are not fighting, we are not in love. So here, love only for the sake of love. Love only for the sake of peace, where? In me. Love only for the sake of happiness in me. I loved you because it gives me happiness. What you are, where you are, how you are, do not matter. All my blame, complaint, reaction, duality, conflict, upset, frustration, sense of failure, feeling of fear comes from the first three kinds of love. Think of this. You have to first think, and you wake up in the morning. So you start even with the thinking. That is one way to do it. Or just have an image of any god and goddesses will do, or any ideal, and anything will do, or even a triangle will do. You love your dad, so now you see that real self in your dad. That real self is unchanging. You love your honey, you see that real self in your honey. That will do. Now he or she is, okay, I love my honey, but I have reservation. You are moving into the first three kinds of love. You have no reservation. You have started the fourth love. Love for the sake of love. Last point that is also very important. Okay, but if others do not, let them not. Who cares? You know, we have a feeling if others are not loving, not offering the same kind of love, who cares? Seekers doesn't care what others behave, how the others behave and act. Maybe your honey, maybe your parents, maybe your siblings, maybe your son. Why? You are a seeker, you want the emotional freedom. They are not seeking the emotional freedom, they are seeking an attachment. They want to move like with the likes and dislikes, sorrow and happiness, blame and complain, then saying sorry, then returning again to the same attachment. Are you getting it? You should start from today. Your perception towards your honey, towards your parents, towards your son, towards your sibling, towards your friends must change. Your perception inside. Don't declare them, from today I'm a seeker, that's why I love you for the sake of love. Then you are creating a problem for yourself. Your perception towards the people, near and the dear ones, then the far ones, must change. Perception inside. You are hitting that emotional dependence. And when you hit that emotional dependence, all these frustration, failure, and the fear will gradually leave you. Yeah, let us start our practice. Close your eyes.